we do know that many of the American aid programs, USAID, PEPFAR, they have done really, really good work. They have had done good work when it comes to testing, treatment, education around HIV and AIDS, also other public health care issues. But PEPFAR and the NIH funding withdrawal from the US also triggered a broader healthcare crisis, disproportionately affecting vulnerable groups, including the trans community. Not only was PEPFAR and other programs providing education and treatment on HIV, but they were also, in some parts, also been providing the funding for gender affirming therapy, hormone therapy for trans individuals. Lwazi Mazibuko is the programs manager at the organization Parents, Families and Friends of South African Queers. Good morning, Lwazi. Really appreciate your time. Some of it I did not know much of, and who was funding plenty of, or a lot of the gender affirming therapies, and that largely has come from outside donors, especially from the US.
Yes, good morning. Some of the organizations that we work with, we have been getting funding from the state, right? For instance, the RHI, Your Out LGBTI Wellbeing, and most of and some organizations, right? So February, when the president from the state cuts the funds for most of these organizations that were rendering all of these services, we found ourselves in a stress because of all of that. Those organizations eventually had to close off the services, which was putting us, the community, in a somewhat distressed situation.
And many of these organizations closed almost immediately, overnight. So whether you were receiving ARV treatment or whether you were going to any of these clinics to receive hormone treatment or some other form of gender affirming therapy, that simply just closed overnight and people didn't know where to go to after that.
Okay, VETRHI and LGBTI Engaged, they made arrangements, because I remember on the first week, they started to release a few statements to say that for their services, they will try and refer their clients to the public health care, in which most of us know that with the public health care, they are somewhat still a bit backward when it comes to their attitude and how they handle or deliver their services as compared to private and the organizations that are initially sensitized to offer the services to trans personnel.
How much of this kind of therapy, hormone treatment is available in a public healthcare system? How much does it cost generally if you're maybe going through a private medical provider?
Okay, so private is a matter of accessibility, because also it is very expensive. Consultation plus or minus 600, right? And then from there you have to do the blood work. That is after you have already went through therapy for over 6 months to a year. And then from there, you go for the consultation, plus or minus 6, blood work, 1,000 to 1.5. And then depending on the shot you get for your hormonal care, either you are taking Depo-T or the estrogen, then the price might range, right? But I know that an injection with Quad Care, an injection with Quad Care, a mil is 100 rand. And if you get to buy the vial for like 3 months, that is more or less
Mm.
1,000.
And
So
how much of this therapy is currently provided by a public healthcare system in South Africa, funded by the Department of Health? From what I understand, many people who have used these US funded clinics before, and who may live in far flung parts of the Cape Metro, now have to come to Groote to receive that treatment. Is the public health sector able to managing the demand?
I would say at the moment, no, because uh, before the cut of funds, maybe. Currently, because now the numbers also have went up. Some of the people that were receiving the services from the other organizations and the private healthcare clinics were able, we're reducing the numbers from the public side of it. But now that everyone is moving to the public aspect of it, it is becoming even more difficult to access the hormones. I know that in Newcastle recently they opened a healthcare clinic, and because of the cut of fund as well, they had to stop the distribution of the hormones.
Mm.
I know as well here in Johannesburg we are suffering with that exactly. So it's a matter of privilege with access at the moment.
Lwazi, with personal health reflecting public health, why should a taxpayer be through our various forms of taxes that goes into the public fiscus? Why should the public sector be paying for what are generally personal choices of transitioning either from man to woman or from woman to man? Why is it important that also a public healthcare system also funds these treatments?
Okay, I'd say for more than anything, as much as it is a personal choice, it's also a matter of being alive and staying, right?
Mm.
We are looking at it as saving the next human being. And from what I know, South Africa today, we have one of the best constitution, as I've been told. A right to life is also a part of that, right? So, like the hormonal therapy that we are getting, and it is assisting us in being who we are. And the few people that I know who had already started with the journey transitioning, get into their therapy, they are becoming more or less of themselves. They are becoming themselves every day.
Yeah.
It's like it's easy to be around them. They are also enjoying being around. So there are a lot of issues that we face prior to transitioning. I'm not saying that transitioning makes
Yeah.
all of that go away, but mental health issues also arise if you are in a space where you feel you do not belong and you just don't want to be in it. So I would say saving a life is very important.
Lwazi Mazibuko, really appreciate your time, program manager at Parents, Families and Friends of South African Queers.